The council chamber was silent, filled with tall and strange figures from across the galaxy. These alien leaders sat in golden chairs, their faces calm, their voices cold. They were the rulers of the Galactic Council, the most powerful force known to the stars. For centuries, they had brought hundreds of worlds under their control. Every race that stood against them had either been broken, enslaved, or destroyed. Now their attention was on a single planet, Earth, humanity. The Council believed this was only another step in their long history of conquest. To them, humans were nothing special, just another small species that had spread too fast, too bold, and too far. The aliens called Earth a wild world, a place where life had grown too quickly, producing creatures that did not know their place. The High Speaker of the Council raised his long arm and said, "The humans will surrender. They have no choice. Their world is small, their fleet is weak, and their courage will not last." Many of the council members nodded. They trusted in their history, in their fleets of massive warships, in the thousands of armies they commanded. To them, victory over Earth was already decided, but not everyone agreed. From the shadows, a smaller alien voice spoke. It belonged to a council observer, one who had studied humans carefully. His eyes glowed dimly as he warned, "You do not understand these creatures. They are stubborn. They fight when others would kneel. They resist even when defeat is certain. If you push them too hard, they will surprise you." The chamber fell into brief silence. The High Speaker's cold smile returned. "Surprise? There is nothing these primitives can do. We will send a warning. If they do not bow, we will bring our fleets to their skies. The humans will learn respect." Outside the chamber, word spread across the galaxy. Other species whispered in fear or in hope. Many had suffered under the Council's rule. To them, the idea of humans resisting was like a spark in the darkness. Could it be possible that this young species would stand when so many had fallen? On Earth, silence ruled. The humans did not answer the Council's demands. Messages were sent, but no reply came. To the aliens, this was proof that humanity was broken, too afraid to even speak. The Council was certain. Their scouts reported no large fleet, no great weapons, nothing that could stop what was coming, so the order was given. The fleets of the Council moved. Thousands of warships spread across space, heading toward the Sol system. They moved like a tide of steel and fire, swallowing stars as they passed. Each ship was a giant, larger than cities, armed with weapons that had burned worlds to ash. To the Council, this was not war. This was punishment, yet far away, hidden from their eyes. Earth was not silent, deep under the oceans, inside secret bases beneath the mountains, and hidden on the far side of the moon, preparations were being made. Humanity had watched. Humanity had learned. Humanity had built. The leaders of Earth met in quiet rooms, their faces hard with determination. They knew what was coming. They knew surrender was death. The aliens would not allow humans to remain free. And so the choice was made. Fight, no matter the cost. Scientists revealed ships that had never been seen before. Commanders trained pilots for battles they had never fought. Soldiers sharpened their resolve, swearing to defend their home. Still, the world outside did not know. The Council believed Earth was waiting to surrender. The galaxy believed humanity was too weak. But within hidden hangars, an armada was waiting in silence. The first Council fleet reached the edge of the solar system. Their commanders looked at Earth from afar, at the blue and green world that had not yet fallen. They laughed in their strange voices, believing victory was already theirs. "Send the demand again," the Admiral ordered. "Tell them to surrender. If they refuse, burn one of their colonies as an example." The message was sent. Again, Earth gave no answer. This time, the Admiral grew impatient. "Very well. Prepare to fire. Let us see how long they can keep their silence." The fleet moved closer, their weapons glowing like fire across the darkness of space. They believed they were seconds away from breaking humanity's will forever. But then, something happened. The black of space shifted. Lights appeared where no ships had been before. First dozens, then hundreds. Metallic forms emerged from hidden shadows, their engines burning bright, their weapons armed. The Admiral froze. His cold voice trembled. What is this? From the far side of the moon, from hidden bases across the system, the Earth fleet arrived. It was larger than anything the Council had expected. Ships of every size filled the void, from small fighters to massive carriers. Their armor shone with strange designs, their weapons glowed with human fire, and at the center of it all, a giant ship led the way, Earth's flagship. Its presence alone sent a message clearer than words. The humans had not surrendered. They had been waiting. They were ready. For the first time in centuries, the Council felt something new: fear. The Earth fleet had appeared like a storm out of nowhere. Hundreds of human ships filled the void, breaking the Council's perfect confidence. For a moment, even the alien admirals were silent, their words caught in their throats. They had expected surrender. They had expected weakness. Instead, they saw defiance, but Earth itself remained quiet. No messages, no speeches, no declaration of war. Just silence. This silence was not weakness. It was something far more dangerous, calm before the fire. The Council fleet regrouped. Their admirals spoke in harsh tones, their voices echoing across command decks. "These ships are impressive," one alien commander said, his eyes like glowing stones. "But they cannot hold. They are still humans, primitive and fragile," another commander agreed. "They have surprised us once. They will not surprise us again." Yet even as they spoke with confidence, doubt grew like a shadow. The humans had hidden an entire fleet. What else had they hidden? On Earth, the silence was part of the plan. In underground command centers, leaders and generals stood over glowing maps of space. They watched every movement of the alien fleets. They heard every demand the Council sent, but still they gave no reply. A young officer asked his commander, "Sir, why do we not answer? Why do we not tell them we are ready to fight?" The commander's voice was firm. "Because words mean nothing to them. They will not believe until they see. Let them think us weak. Let them think we are afraid. When the time comes, our answer will not be words. It will be fire." The room fell silent again. The only sound was the steady hum of machines, the quiet preparation of a world sharpening its claws. Across the galaxy, other races watched in confusion. The Council controlled the media, spreading lies and propaganda. They told their subjects that Earth was afraid, that humans were too proud to speak, that surrender was only days away. But among the oppressed, whispers grew. Some had heard secret signals, faint messages that spoke of human resistance. They began to hope. If humans could stand, perhaps others might rise as well. The Council hated these whispers. They ordered spies and agents to silence them. They reminded the galaxy of their power. Yet the silence of humanity unsettled even them. On the edge of the solar system, the first Council fleet tested humanity's resolve. One of their massive warships targeted a human colony on Mars. Its cannons glowed, ready to fire. The admiral declared, "If Earth will not answer, then we will take their silence as surrender. Let their colonies burn." But before the weapon could strike, a formation of human ships moved. Small, fast, and deadly, they rose from the shadows of Mars itself. In a flash of light, they launched a barrage of missiles. Explosions tore across the alien warship's hull. The admiral roared in anger. "How dare they?" The Council fleet opened fire. Beams of energy lit the black sky. Human ships darted through the chaos, weaving and striking with precision. They were not as large as the alien vessels, but they were faster, smarter, and unafraid to fight. For hours, the battle raged. And still, Earth remained silent. Inside the flagship of humanity, Admiral Reyes stood tall. His eyes never left the battle map, where red marks of alien ships clashed against the blue of human vessels. His officers awaited his orders. "Do we broadcast a message, sir?" one asked. Reyes shook his head. "Not yet. Let the Council wonder. Let them believe they still control the story. The longer we stay silent, the more they will fear what comes next." His silence was not cowardice, it was strategy. Humanity was not fighting only with weapons. They were fighting with fear, with mystery, with patience. The Council did not understand patience. They had always crushed their enemies quickly, without hesitation. Now facing humans who refused to speak, their admirals grew restless. "They are playing games," one snarled. "We should end this now. Send the second fleet. Burn their world." The High Speaker, watching from afar, agreed. "If they will not kneel, then they will be erased. Humanity will become a warning to all others." Orders spread through the stars. More fleets began their long march toward Earth. The galaxy trembled, wondering if this would be the end or the beginning of something new. On Earth, in the silence of night, families waited in fear. They knew war had come, even if they could not see it with their own eyes. Cities prepared shelters, hospitals readied for the wounded, and every person carried the same thought: we must not surrender. Children asked their parents, "Will the aliens take us?" The parents held them close and whispered, "Not if our soldiers stand, not if our fleet fights." The silence of Earth was filled with quiet courage. Every heartbeat was a promise, to resist, to endure, to fight. At the edge of space, as the first battle ended, wreckage drifted across the void. Alien ships burned, their hulks glowing like dying stars. Human ships returned to formation, battered but unbroken. The Council had expected surrender. Instead, they found defiance in silence and far away. Hidden from all, humanity's true weapons were still waiting. The silence was almost over. The storm was coming. The wreckage of the first clash still floated in the darkness of space. Twisted metal and broken ships drifted silently, reminders of a fight the Council had not expected. The humans had not spoken a single word, yet their answer was written in fire and steel. The Council commanders studied the field with cold eyes, unwilling to admit their surprise. They had thought the humans would kneel, but instead they had bared their teeth. The second fleet approached, larger and more powerful than the first. Hundreds of alien warships entered the Sol system, their shadows covering the stars. These ships had burned empires, erased whole civilizations, and never once faced defeat. To the Council, this was the final blow. Earth would fall, and the silence of humanity would end in ashes. But humanity did not panic. Hidden deep below oceans, inside hollowed mountains, and across secret stations near the asteroid belt, Earth's commanders watched every move of the enemy. They had built their ships in silence, trained their crews in shadows, and now the time had come to reveal the full strength of the Earth fleet. Orders spread across secure channels. Pilots sealed their helmets. Captains stood on their bridges, waiting for the signal. The humans had no illusions of peace. They knew this was a fight for survival, and survival required strength. The alien fleet advanced with confidence. Their admiral ordered the humans to transmit surrender. No reply came. Instead, the humans waited until the first alien ships crossed into range. Then the trap was sprung. From behind the dark side of the moon, human carriers released swarms of fighters, fast and agile machines built for deadly strikes. From hidden positions near Mars, missile platforms lit up the sky with streams of fire. From Earth's orbit itself, massive warships powered their engines and moved forward, shields glowing, weapons armed. The alien admiral roared his command. Energy beams cut through the void, striking at human formations. But the humans were not clumsy prey. Their ships twisted and turned, weaving between deadly blasts, striking back with precision. Fighters darted between the giants of the Council fleet, planting explosives, launching missiles, tearing holes into armor that was thought to be unbreakable. The void filled with thunder, light, and death. On board Earth's flagship, Admiral Reyes stood with calm eyes. He gave no speeches, no grand words, only simple orders. Hold formation. Break their wings. Strike at their command ships. His voice carried through the fleet like steel. Human ships moved as one, a single blade against the storm. They had waited for this moment, and now every pilot, every gunner, every soldier fought with the same thought. Earth must not fall. The Council ships struggled. They had size, they had power, but they lacked the spirit of their enemy. For every human ship that was destroyed, 2 more pushed forward, with rage in their hearts. The aliens began to realize what their observer had once warned. Humans did not kneel. They fought even when defeat seemed certain. And now defeat was not certain. It was theirs. The battle raged for hours. Explosions shook the void. Debris scattered like rain across the stars. Entire squadrons vanished in moments. Yet the humans kept advancing, pushing deeper into the alien lines. Alien admirals shouted in panic, calling for reinforcements. They had expected an easy war, but instead they had awakened a force that refused to die. Back on Earth, the people waited, watching the sky with hope and fear. They knew their fleet was fighting beyond the clouds. They saw flashes of light through the night, distant fires that spoke of battles too far to touch. Families gathered in silence, whispering prayers not to gods, but to the courage of their soldiers. Every man, woman, and child understood that this was not just a war. This was survival. At the edge of the battle, a human squadron broke through the alien defenses. Led by Captain Arya Cole, they pierced the enemy lines and struck at the Admiral's command ship. Alien guns fired wildly, desperate to stop them, but the squadron pressed forward. Arya's voice echoed in her crew's ears. No fear, no retreat. Humanity stands today. With a final strike, torpedoes tore into the alien flagship. Flames erupted, and the Council Admiral's ship began to collapse. His last words were filled with disbelief. This is impossible. The loss of the flagship sent panic through the alien fleet. Their lines wavered. Their formations broke. For the first time in centuries, the Council tasted something they had never known: defeat. Human cheers echoed through comms, brief but powerful, before they steeled themselves again. The fight was not over. More fleets were coming. More battles lay ahead. Still, in that moment, Earth had spoken without words. The silence had been broken by the roar of their fleet. The Council believed humans would surrender. Instead, they had stood, they had fought, and they had drawn blood. Across the galaxy, oppressed species heard the news in secret whispers. The humans had not fallen. The humans had struck back, and in the shadows of deep space, even greater ships were waiting to rise. Humanity had not yet revealed all of its strength. The war had only just begun, and the galaxy was about to learn the truth. Humans do not surrender. The news spread faster than light. Across distant worlds, whispers carried the story of Earth's defiance. The Council's fleets had clashed with humans, and for the first time in living memory, the Invincible Council had lost a battle. No official announcement was made, but rumors grew like wildfire. Merchant ships spoke of alien wreckage drifting near Mars. Traders claimed to have seen human fighters strike like predators. Captains who had once sworn loyalty to the Council whispered that humanity had achieved the impossible. For the oppressed races of the galaxy, these whispers were sparks of hope. They had long believed resistance was useless, that no power could match the Council's armadas. But if the humans could fight back, if the humans could win even once, then perhaps the Council was not unbreakable after all. In quiet corners of the galaxy, in secret rooms, old dreams of rebellion began to stir. The Council tried to silence the rumors. They spread messages across every channel, declaring that Earth had been punished, that the resistance of humanity was meaningless. But their lies could not erase the truth. Too many had seen the flames of their burning ships. Too many had heard the last screams of their admiral as his flagship was destroyed. The image of the mighty falling could not be hidden. In the grand chamber of the Council, fear and anger clashed. The High Speaker struck his staff against the floor, his voice sharp. This is a mistake of command. One battle does not change the fate of a species. We will crush the humans before their victory inspires others. His words were filled with authority, but beneath them was unease. The Council had underestimated humanity once. To underestimate them again would be dangerous. Other voices rose in the chamber. Some demanded immediate action. Send the Third Fleet. Burn their cities. End this war before it spreads. But others were cautious. The humans are not like the others. They fight with fire in their hearts. If we strike too quickly, we may awaken something greater. The debate grew fierce, but the Council's pride would not allow hesitation. Orders were given. More fleets were summoned, larger than before. Humanity would be shown its place. Far from these halls, in the quiet shadows of space, humanity prepared once more. The first victories had lifted their spirits, but their leaders knew the truth. The battle was far from won. The Council had endless ships, endless armies, endless power. Humanity could not match them in size. But they could match them in something else: will. On every colony, in every base, in every hidden hangar, men and women worked without rest. New ships were built, new weapons prepared, new strategies planned. They knew the next wave would come soon, and it would be stronger. Admiral Reyes stood at the heart of Earth's fleet, his eyes fixed on the stars. His officers gathered around him, their voices filled with both fear and determination. When asked quietly, "Sir, how long do you think we can hold against them?" Reyes did not look away from the void. His answer was simple: "As long as it takes." Those words carried through the fleet, a promise and a command. They did not fight for glory. They fought for survival, and survival demanded courage. Meanwhile, on distant worlds, the galaxy watched. Some races sent secret signals to humanity, offering small aid, hidden supplies, whispers of council movements, stolen codes. Others simply waited, praying that humans would succeed where they had failed. And still, there were those who doubted, who believed that Earth's fire would be crushed like all the rest. But even they could not ignore the unease growing in their hearts. The Council was not as certain as before. Their empire trembled, if only slightly. The Council fleets gathered near the edge of the Sol system. Thousands of ships, more than humanity had ever faced, prepared for war. Their weapons gleamed, their engines burned like suns. The void itself seemed to bend beneath their power. To them, this was not merely conquest anymore. This was revenge. Humanity had humiliated them, and humiliation demanded blood. On Earth, the people waited once more. They had seen the lights of battle in the skies, heard the thunder of war in the distance. Now they prepared for worse. Shelters were stocked, defenses strengthened, soldiers trained until exhaustion. Children asked their parents if the aliens would destroy their world. The parents gave the only answer they could: "Not while we still breathe." Every heartbeat became part of the silent rhythm of resistance. The second battle had shaken the galaxy. The third would decide its future. The humans knew this. The Council knew this. And so the stars grew heavy with tension, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. The silence of Earth still continued, but it was no longer the silence of fear. It was the silence of hunters waiting for the right moment to strike. As the massive armada of the Council moved closer, their commanders mocked. They will break. They must break. But deep inside, doubt gnawed at them. They had never faced enemies like this. Enemies who fought without surrender, who bled and still advanced, who carried in their hearts a fire that no weapon could extinguish. In the darkness of space, Earth's fleet held position, silent and waiting. Their ships floated like shadows, their weapons armed, their captains ready. The humans did not speak, but their silence spoke louder than words. It said, "We are not afraid." It said, "We are waiting for you." And when the Council's armada finally entered range, when the stars filled with the fire of war once again, the galaxy knew the truth. Humanity had not surrendered. Humanity had not broken. Humanity had only begun to fight. The stars grew darker as the Council gathered their greatest force. It was not a fleet, it was a storm. Thousands of warships, more than any species had ever seen together, stretched across the void like a wall of fire and steel. Their engines burned with power, their weapons glowed like suns, and their commanders swore that this time humanity would be crushed beyond memory. This was not conquest anymore. This was vengeance. The High Speaker's orders were clear. No more warnings, no more demands. Destroy their fleets, burn their colonies, silence their defiance forever. The command echoed across countless ships, and alien captains prepared themselves for a slaughter they believed would end quickly. But Earth was not blind. Spies and signals had already carried the news. Humanity knew what was coming, and though fear touched every heart, it did not break them. Across every base, every shipyard, every colony, the order spread: prepare for the final battle. Factories worked without pause. Engineers poured their last strength into repairing damaged ships. New weapons were rushed into service, untested but ready. Pilots drilled until their eyes burned, soldiers marched until their legs ached, and families whispered silent prayers as the skies filled with shadows. Admiral Reyes stood at the heart of the Earth fleet, his gaze locked on the maps that showed the enemy's approach. Never before had he seen so many ships gathered in one place. For a brief moment, even his heart felt heavy. But he knew he could not let fear show. His officers watched him, and his calm was their anchor. "We are outnumbered," he said quietly, "but not outwilled. They will come with fire. We will answer with fury." On the ground, leaders of Earth addressed their people. They did not promise easy victory. They did not hide the danger, but they reminded humanity of what was at stake. "If we fall," one voice declared to the world, "we lose not just our planet but our future. This is our stand. This is the fight that decides who we are." Across cities, across colonies, men and women listened and swore in silence. "We will not surrender." The Council's fleet entered the Sol system, blotting out the stars with their sheer size. Their admiral gave the order to fire. Waves of energy lit the darkness, targeting human defenses on Mars, on the moons of Jupiter and near Earth itself. Explosions tore through space, shaking human ships as the first line of defense fell. The Council roared with triumph, believing the end was near, but the humans were ready. From hidden stations near the asteroid belt, missile silos opened and unleashed storms of fire. From deep within the ice of Europa, cannons rose and fired beams that cut through the alien formations. From the dark side of Earth, new warships emerged, ships no one in the galaxy had ever seen before. Their armor was thick, their weapons shone with strange light, their engines screamed with raw power. Humanity had built them in secret, saving them for this moment. The Council admirals froze as the unexpected wave of human ships struck their front lines. For every blow they landed, the humans returned too. Fighters swarmed across the battlefield, weaving through the chaos like hornets, striking command ships and tearing apart engines. Larger warships formed walls to shield the smaller ones, trading armor for time. Humanity fought as one, not as individuals, but as a single force bound by survival. The battle became a storm without end. Alien beams burned through human ships, tearing them apart. Human missiles ripped open the largest Council carriers, leaving them drifting in silence. Space itself became a graveyard filled with fire and debris. Every second, more lives were lost, but still neither side broke. In the command deck of the flagship, Admiral Reyes listened as reports came in. "Sector 4 is collapsing. Mars defenses are gone. Enemy fleet pushing toward Earth." His officers waited for his decision. Reyes closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them with steel. "Hold the line. If they want Earth, they must bleed for every inch." His voice carried across the comms, steady as stone. Human pilots, their ships breaking apart around them, pressed their attacks without hesitation.
"For Earth!"
they cried as they dove into enemy lines, sometimes knowing it meant their deaths. Their sacrifice slowed the alien advance, bought seconds, and those seconds mattered. On distant worlds, the galaxy watched in awe and terror. Some races wept, believing the humans would be destroyed by such overwhelming force. Others clenched their fists, inspired by the courage of a people who fought against the impossible. The Council had wanted to make humanity an example of fear. Instead, humanity was becoming an example of resistance. Hours turned to endless struggle. Wreckage filled every orbit. The sky above Earth glowed with fire as fleets clashed and died. Yet still, humanity endured. The aliens pressed harder, their numbers endless, their power overwhelming. But every time they thought they had broken through, another wave of human ships emerged, another trap was sprung, another sacrifice was made. The Council's pride began to crack. Their admirals shouted in rage, demanding victory, demanding surrender, but victory did not come. Humanity still stood. Humanity still fought. Humanity still refused to die, and deep within Earth's command center, a final weapon was being prepared. A weapon the Council did not know existed. As the battle raged above, engineers whispered, "It is ready. Generals nodded, eyes grim. The time had not yet come, but soon. The galaxy held its breath as the largest fleet in history fought the smallest. Fire filled the void. The end seemed close, but the humans did not surrender. They could not, for this was their last stand, and they would fight until the stars themselves burned out. The battle above Earth had raged for hours that felt like centuries. The skies were torn apart, filled with burning wrecks, dying signals, and the voices of those who refused to yield. Both fleets were bleeding. Both sides had lost more ships than ever before in the history of the stars. Yet the Council pressed on, believing that sheer numbers would finally crush humanity. Admiral Tareth, commander of the Council's armada, stood at the center of his flagship, eyes locked on the shifting battle. "They are breaking," he hissed. "Push harder. One last strike, and the humans will kneel." His voice carried across the fleet, and the alien ships obeyed, charging with every weapon they had left. But humanity was not breaking. Humanity was waiting. Deep beneath Earth's surface, hidden far below bunkers and stone, a weapon older than the war itself was waking. It had been built in silence, in shadows, known only to the highest leaders of Earth. It was not just a ship. It was something greater. Engineers had whispered its name with both pride and fear, the Titan. The Titan rose from its cradle like a mountain lifting from the earth. Its hull gleamed with new alloys that shimmered against the darkness. Its engines burned with a fire brighter than any star, and at its heart pulsed a weapon designed not to defeat one ship or one fleet, but to change the course of war itself. Admiral Reyes watched as the Titan emerged into orbit, and for the first time that night, his tired eyes lit with hope. His comms crackled with awe from soldiers across the system. "What is that? Is it ours? It's beautiful." The Council fleet froze for a moment as the massive shape came into view. Even their countless ships looked small compared to the giant rising from Earth. "Impossible," Admiral Tareth whispered. "They built this in secret." Fear touched his voice, though he tried to hide it. The Titan's cannons roared. A single blast ripped through 3 Council destroyers as if they were paper. Another beam cut across the sky, tearing apart a carrier that had been leading the charge. The galaxy had never seen such firepower before. Panic spread through the alien lines. Orders clashed with screams as ships turned to face the new threat. But the Titan did not stand alone. At its sides, the remaining Earth fleet surged forward with renewed fury, striking the Council's weakened lines. Human fighters weaved between enemy ships, guiding the Titan's fire to the most dangerous targets. The battle shifted. For the first time, the aliens felt what humans had carried since the beginning: hope. Admiral Reyes gave the order. "Push them back. Every ship, every soldier. This is the moment." His voice rang with strength, and the humans obeyed without hesitation. They fought like fire itself, turning desperation into victory. The Council fleet wavered. Admirals shouted commands, but their words no longer carried the same weight. Their soldiers had never known fear like this. They had thought humanity would kneel. Instead, they were the ones trembling. The Titan unleashed its main weapon, a pulse of pure energy that spread across the battlefield like a wave. Shields cracked, engines died, and a dozen alien warships went silent in an instant. The void glowed with fire as the largest fleet in history began to crumble. Admiral Tareth watched in disbelief as his forces fell apart. His pride, his power, his certainty, all shattered. "This cannot be," he whispered. "They were supposed to surrender. They were supposed to bow." But humanity had bowed to no one. In the command deck of the Titan, human officers cheered as each alien ship fell. Yet Admiral Reyes did not smile. He knew the cost had been terrible. Hundreds of human ships were gone, thousands of lives lost. But the battle was being won, and Earth still stood. One final push broke the Council fleet. Their admiral, furious and broken, ordered retreat. The surviving alien ships turned and fled, leaving the battlefield littered with wreckage and silence. For the first time in galactic history, the Council had been defeated, not by a larger power, but by the species they had underestimated most. The news spread like fire across the galaxy. Worlds that had once bowed to the Council whispered in awe of humanity. Races that had lived in fear now saw hope. If humans could stand against the Council, then maybe anyone could. The Council's rule, once seen as eternal, now looked fragile. On Earth, survivors wept and embraced as the fires of war dimmed in the sky. Families mourned their dead, but they did so with pride, knowing their sacrifice had saved their world. The names of lost soldiers were spoken with honor, and their courage would be remembered for generations. Admiral Reyes stood on the deck of the Titan, gazing at the broken stars. He knew this was not the end. The Council would return, perhaps stronger, perhaps angrier, but they would never again believe that humanity would kneel. They had learned the truth the hard way. Humans fight until the very last breath. The galaxy would never forget the day the Earth fleet arrived. It was the day humanity became more than a small voice in the stars. It was the day they became a power, a legend, a force that even the greatest council could not crush. And somewhere in the silence of space, the survivors of the council carried a new fear. The fear of what humanity might become next.